Hi, everybody, and welcome to this installment of The Office Whisperer. My name is Jim Blizzard with Origamic Solutions, and today I want to share with you how you can leverage your current Office 365 subscription to create automation and value for your business operations. The scenario we'll talk about today is a common need: automating an approval process for business expense reimbursement. There are several ways to implement this workflow. I'm going to show you a method that leverages Microsoft Forms, Microsoft Power Automate, as well as Microsoft Teams for a holistic solution. So let's just jump into it. So we're going to go to Microsoft Forms. That's forms.office.com, and we're going to do a new form. I've already created this one, but you would create a new form. We would add the following elements to be captured: employee name, which is just a text box; employee email, which is a text box with an email restriction on it; a list of departments. I've just got two here: an expense date, an expense amount, a description, and a area to put in a bunch of receipts, up to 5, that justify what's going on here. So in order to actually execute this, we're going to jump over here. We're going to jump to the execution version. All right. And I'm going to put in here, I'm going to put in John Doe. I'm going to put in my email. I'm going to do HR. I'm going to put an expense date of at the end of the month. We're going to put an amount here of $50. And we're going to put a justification. It was a team lunch. And then we're going to include a file. Notice these are all required, and that's all configurable. Include this file. All right. And then it's just as simple as hitting submit. So what will happen is we will receive, you notice here pop through, we will receive a request. I'm the manager in this case. A request has come through. Give me a second to pop up here. It shows up in my Teams, and this is a whole module of that Teams has called approvals. So you use it right out of the box. All these things I'm showing you come with a basic subscription of Microsoft 365. So you'll see it was for Department HR. It was for expense date of this date, the 10/30, $50, and then here's a copy of a link to the receipt, and then it'll show the status. So I can either reject or approve it. I'm going to approve it. All right. So let me show you a little bit what's going on in the background as we look at what's going on in actual Microsoft Automate or Power Automate. All right. This is my Power Automate. You can see that we've got some flows that executed. This is the one that just finished. I'm going to click on edit and going to walk you through what we're doing here. So as this opens up, again, this is really something that you can do. There's no special premium licensing required. This just comes with the basic free version of Microsoft Power Automate. So the first thing you do is when a new response is submitted, and we're going to look for that form that we had originally created. So this is the expense reimbursement form, right? And then we're going to get the details of that. And this just points back to the response ID of that submittal, right? And then the next thing we're going to do is, because that number for the amount is a text field, we're going to convert it to a number, and we're going to make it be currency, right? So that's pretty straightforward. Then we're going to go through a couple things here where we're going to parse the JSON. And the JSON we're parsing is, let me go over here. It's the body of this message here, right? And then we're going to basically begin to create the body of that message that goes to the manager. So we're going to put the department number. We didn't put the name in here because specifically would be the name of the person that submitted it. I'm submitting it on behalf of somebody, but that's not a typical use case here. The expense date, the amount, which is coming back from that format number, and then a description, which is getting the description from this form. And these are all pick lists that you can choose from. And then we're going to know that there's attachments. So there's a couple of variables here. We've got this attachment variable, which is going to do a new line delimited list of these particular links. And then this placeholder is going to help us build it, right? New line allows us to put that new line for that delimiter in there. So what we're going to do is for each of these files that have come in, that's what this is. So for each of the files that have come in, we're going to append that link to a list of attachments. And all that's doing is a concatenation, a little bit advanced here, but not too bad, where we're going to concatenate to the list of attachments that link that came over in that list, and then the new line. So that's just going to continue to add to it. So then the next thing we want to do is we need to update that list of attachments with this placeholder that we're updating. So over here, we're updating the placeholder. Then we're going to update this with the placeholder. And that's going to continue to grow that piece, right? And then we want to append those things together and say our real body is going to be those outputs of what we started to build up here. It's going to be, here's a header for the receipt links. And then we're going to take that list of attachments, which, as I said, is a delimited string of with a new line in there, so that you're going to have link, new line, link, new line. And then from there, we're going to create the request approval. This is a built-in action that is for teams, for approvals. And we're going to do a list of options we have here. We're going to say approve, reject with the first to respond, as opposed to having it go through and have everybody approve. This is a one-person response. We're going to give it a title. We're going to assign it to that manager's email that we captured. So if I go back over here, so in the form, we had manager's email right there, right? So we're going to bring that in. Then we're going to take the outputs, which are the details. And this is the outputs. Let me make that clear. This is the outputs from the full body, right? So if I hover over it, you're going to see where it says full body outputs, right? Okay. And that's pretty much all we have to do. We didn't do attachments because we're using links. We could also add to this attachments, but for ease of use, we're just saying that we are talking about links here. And that's all that's going to happen. So what that does is it sends that link that we had talked about. It sends that approval request with the links that we talked about and showed the approval rejection of that. And that's all there is. There's other things we can do. We could have it. We can actually have it create the approval and wait for a response. So there is a control action here that is called wait for a response, I think. Let me find that. Start an approval. Start and wait for approval. So that's what we would do here. And all that just does is allows you to do the same thing we just did. And then it's just going to sit there and wait until it gets approved. And then you can take that action and do additional things. You can actually have it send an API request to your financial system, like QuickBooks or something like that. That just allows people to kind of live in the same area that they live all the time, which is Teams, as opposed to having to learn a new tool. And it just makes things a lot simpler. So this is a way that you can use the subscription you already have to continue to innovate and robustify, to coin a term here, your operations, and allow you to keep people in systems that are familiar to them, like Microsoft products. Microsoft Teams is where a lot of people live for their meetings, also for file sharing, etc. So it's a great way to enhance your operations. Thank you for joining me in this installment of The Office Whisperer. I hope this was helpful for you. If you would like to get some more information or talk to one of the navigators at Origamic Solutions, you can reach us on our website at origamicsolutions.com/contact us.